Hi, my name's Richard Armitage. I've written a book called Geneva, and a lot of the events in the story are based on real experiences, and we're going to find out what is true and what is false.
You wrote these questions when you were drunk, true or false? We have lots to look forward to. You were once tied up in a basement with zip ties.
That's true. Yes, it was a scene from Strike Back. Richard hasn't been tied up, but John Porter was tied up in a basement with zip ties.
Sarah Collier was based on Sarah Gilbert, who you wanted to write a biopic about.
That is true. I took her idea as a scientist of who she is and what it might be like to remove her and put her into a thrilling psychological drama. Thanks, Sarah.
Daniel's incident on the mountain is a reconstruction of something which happened to a friend of yours.
That's actually false. It didn't happen to a friend of mine. It happened to me. When I was first skiing, I kind of got very, very cocky, and I had all of the gear and no idea. And I was coming down a very, very fast run and hit a rock and bounced on my head. Thank goodness I was wearing a helmet. But yeah, it really happened. I nearly went over the edge.
You're planning to adapt Geneva into a movie or a TV show.
That's true. I started a production company last year, so every piece of IP that I can acquire is going to be useful, and seeing as this is my own, then why not?
PAVEL OSINOV is a character that you've developed to play yourself when the book is adapted into a movie.
Both true and false. By the time this becomes a movie, which is something that I always dream about in my deluded mind, I'll probably be too old to play Daniel, but I might be okay to play OSINOV. So just hedging my bets there.
Like Sarah Collier, you once fell asleep during a press junket.
That's false. I didn't fall asleep during a press junket, but the makeup artist handed me a little cup of coffee and whispered in my ear, "It's a mojito. It'll make you much more interesting." So that was based on that story.
TERRI LANDAU was named after your sister-in-law.
That is true. My sister-in-law is a big audiobook fan. She's a big reader as well, and I thought that I would honour her by using her name as one of the characters.
You once broke into a well-known scientific institute to research a role.
That is true. One of my very first jobs was at the Alex Theatre in Birmingham, and I was doing a play by Faye Weldon called The Four Alice Bakers about genetic cloning. And I drove up to Cambridge and just went to their science department. No one was around, so I just walked into a lab and started asking questions. Is this my prize? Can I take it home with me?
If you genuinely want to, you may.
Thank you so much for making this bespoke true-false sign. I will treasure it.